the more that you love somebody, the more foolish you are willing to look for them. I have a really good friend. His name's John. John's a great guy. John is a successful businessman. John is an author. John travels around the world. He's a communicator, a speaker. John wears a suit for his job. He has like a grown-up big boy job, you know. But I knew John in college. You know anybody like that? They're doing something like amazing in their life, and you think, I know you, and I knew you back then. My friend John is an amazing guy. He's amazing at what he does. He's always been this kind of like all-out guy that's not afraid to look a little foolish, especially for the things and the people that he loves the most. And so he's married to a girl named Lindsay. And I remember when they were dating, and he knew this was the girl that he wanted to love forever. This was the girl he was going to propose to. And so he thought, you know, I love her so much, I want to show her creatively how much I love her and how I propose to her. And the more that you love someone, the more foolish you're willing to become for them. So he must really love her. So John and Lindsay were seeing each other by flying back and forth. He lived in Canton, she lived in St. Louis. So they were used to flying back and forth. And so Lindsay thought that day that she was getting on a flight in St. Louis just to fly to Canton to see John like she always did. But John had a bigger plan on that day. One of the movies that they love to watch together, that Lindsay loves so much, is probably a movie that some of you have seen before, maybe even read the book, the movie called The Notebook. Oh, right. How many people have seen The Notebook? Guys, keep your hand up if you've suffered through The Notebook because you love the person you're sitting next to. And so John and Lindsay, they love this movie, The Notebook, and so he decides, I'm going to show her how much I love her. I'm going to write my own notebook for us. I'm going to detail 50-plus memories of things that only I would know about our relationship to show her that I love her so much. And then he didn't stop there. He said, in the back of this notebook, then I'm going to project out into our future, what it's going to look like when we're an old married couple, the 85-year-old versions of ourselves. I'm going to write in our notebook. And then he called the airline. He let him in on the plan. He said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dress up like an old man, and I'm going to book a ticket right next to my girlfriend that I'm going to propose to. He says, yeah, I'm going to book a ticket, and I'm going to dress like an old man. I'm going to be dressed up like as much 85-year-old me as I can think of. We're talking like a full mask and a wig and bifocals and false teeth and 150 pounds of extra layers so that he would look like the older version of himself. Then, of course, he roped in his younger brother to help him, because that's what you do when you do foolish things. And he says to his brother, you're going to fly down to St. Louis with me early, and you're going to be the one that delivers to her the notebook. You're going to deliver to her the notebook and give her the instructions that she's supposed to be reading the notebook. And as she gets into the air and she's 30,000 feet up, when she gets to the part where it talks about them as an old married couple together, the old man sitting next to her is going to get down on one knee and propose at 30,000 feet. Wow. And some of you guys are thinking, geez, buddy, you could just do it at home. You know, you could just. But the more that you love someone, the more foolish you're willing to look. So the big day comes, and they fly down to St. Louis early, and they successfully help John make the transformation into an old man in the bathroom. And his younger brother delivers the notebook, and everything's going off without a hitch. And there's old man John sitting at the gate. And he's thinking to himself, oh my gosh, I'm going to propose to my wife today. And he's nervous. Guys, remember that time? He was nervous, and his heart was beating really fast. And remember, he has 150 pounds of extra weight on him. And he just happened to be going through a health cleanse at the time where he hadn't had any carbs in his system for almost 30 days. Now, that's a bad combination, isn't it? And so old man John, 85-year-old man John, gets up to pre-board. He goes up to the ticket counter, and he says, when I got up there, I passed out cold. He passed out cold right there in front of the ticket counter. Of course, everyone's freaking out because they think an 85-year-old man is having a heart attack. Lindsay, who's sitting there at the gate, finds out that it's John because when the paramedics roll him over, his wig falls off, and she sees her boyfriend as an 85-year-old man laying there on the floor. Now, they find out later that the reason this happened is because he was having like a seizure, but the paramedics didn't know that at the time. They thought he was having a heart attack. And so they got out the defibrillator paddles, and they used them on John. And so he says, when they did that, all of my systems just shut down, all of them. And so they had to take him to the hospital where he was induced into a 24-hour coma just so that he wouldn't die. He almost died proposing to his girlfriend. You say, why would you put yourself through that? Because the more you love someone, the more foolish you're willing to look for them.